But as you have mentioned, the key words I think in this decision are senior and prior right. The Aboriginal title is a senior and prior right to fee simple. That means that where a claim for Aboriginal title is made and found to exist, the property in that area, whether it is publicly held or privately held, the title to that land is secondary to the Aboriginal title. And people in Richmond are finding that out right now, and what potentially all the implications of that are. But we started to go down this road decades ago. For example, when we put in the charter and the new constitution, right? So Pierre Trudeau's original draft of what would eventually become the Charter of Rights included a right to property. But when the charter was actually put into being in 1982, that guarantee had been taken out at the request of some of the premiers, including some of the Western premiers. And at the same time, what was put in, going back to this first draft that Trudeau did, that first draft did not mention Aboriginal rights. But sort of at the last minute before the Constitution was patriated, there was a campaign put on to include Aboriginal rights, a guarantee to them, in the Constitution, which, in fact, that campaign was successful and it was put in. So here's what we ended up with. No property rights except for Aboriginal title rights. And so the constitutional right in Section 35 of the Constitution is now a constitutional right, and nobody else has a constitutional right to their property. So the government can expropriate your property, take it away, and if instructed to do so by a court, can be taken away and given over to an Aboriginal group that makes a title claim. So your fee simple title in your land is secondary to the prior and senior right of Aboriginal title in those areas where such a claim could be made. And this is going to be a big problem in BC, especially because the land in BC is not subject to treaties for the most part. And so most of the territory of BC is going to be open to question in this way. But it's not just British Columbia. These kinds of claims have been made in New Brunswick and in Quebec and so on. And so the book is not closed across the country on this, and we're just going to have to wait and see what all the fallout is, and it could be considerable.
Okay, so this is where we've got to really be very clear-eyed in terms of the implications potentially of this decision, because we can't blow and suck at the same time. You either own your property or you don't. I found a paragraph 3551, you can look it up, of the Cowichan decision, and it states this. A precedent that will follow from this case is that provincial crown grants of fee simple interest do not extinguish nor permanently displace Aboriginal title, and sections 2325 of the Land Title Act do not apply to Aboriginal title. Doesn't that hit the nail on the head?
Correct.
This is intended to be a precedent-setting decision across the land,
yes,
from coast to coast to coast. And it basically takes a missile on our economic system, because if you don't have property rights, how does your economy move forward?
Right. Well, right. All these things are woven together, right? Property rights are one of the things that makes the logic of your society work. And if you pull on that thread, then the whole thing starts to unravel, right? Security of tenure depends upon your ability, it determines your ability to get financing, to get mortgages, to get credit. It determines the ability to enter into commercial enterprises. And in BC, 95% plus of the land is held by the Crown, and the Crown is the one that gives out permits and so on to work the land, agriculture, forestry, mining, and so on. And if the ability to use land and the security of land is thrown into question, then yes, the commercial enterprises upon which the economy depends will also be thrown into question.
I just have a comment in regards to the negative comments that are being shared by these hunting organizations and so-called wildlife federations. What I'd like to know is, where is this intense aggression coming from? I mean, if you look at Canada, from coast to coast to coast, this land is our land. This land's not your land. That's my message for these folks claiming that they're going to come and knock down blockades. And you are basically perpetuating genocide and just espousing your racist and ethnocentric views and acting like you're entitled to our First Nations land as well. I don't think so.